Thanks to Omaze for sponsoring this video. Stay tuned for a word on them later on. There's two types of cyclists. The first type are the ones that buy exactly what they want with little regard to the price, because as long as it's what they want, it doesn't matter how much it costs because it'll last for a really long time. The second type of cyclists are the ones that scour every little nook and cranny of used marketplaces for the best deals on cycling possible without actually having to go out and steal a bike. Colton, aka sixspeedsoul from Tucson, Arizona, is definitely the second type of rider. With a few rounds of flipping fixies, he was able to earn enough cash to build himself his dream fixed gear. A limited edition Milano Red Hook Crit Cinelli Vigorelli. For Colton, this bike was absolutely free. Now let's take a closer look at this Cinelli Vigorelli in this fixed gear bike check. Colton writes, "This Red Hook Crit Vigorelli, my dream bike, was built entirely secondhand other than one part. This bike has been a goal build of mine for forever. However, like most people, I'm broke as hell. So to Facebook Marketplace and eBay. Years ago, I stumbled across a 2013 Cinelli Match histogram on Facebook. It was a full build with some decent parts. Think 2013 Glory Days style. Tiny flat bars and tons of Miike parts. However, one major plus was the custom H+ Sun plus high flange fill wood wheel set with a super rare bolt-on cog rear hub. The bike actually didn't fit me and I was planning to pass on it, but the seller said, I really don't need it and haven't had much interest. Could you flip it? Just throw me a price." Usually sellers absolutely hate flippers since that's money that you're making that they're not making. So Colton, you found a real unicorn of a seller. I left with a full bike for $400. That's where my used parts addiction started, and understandably so, since that's like hitting the jackpot of flipping fixies. I would buy complete bikes, take the parts I wanted off, and then sell the rest to make my money back. I did this for years. Eventually I started to profit. I built up my whole bike with these parts. The wheels came from that original Mash I found. Cold pedals and grips from a friend who is sponsored by them. A used gator skin hardshell and thick slick, and KMC K710 SL chain from the local bike shop. Brick saddle on eBay for $40. I slowly pieced together a whole Thompson cockpit from various bikes. I rode with the same build for a few years and just swapped frame sets as I found cool ones. Every fixed gear community has at least one of those guys that is just constantly searching for the best deals possible on used marketplaces and is buying all of them up and then just sells those parts to all their friends, and the circle of fixie life continues. You, Colton, you're that guy. But only if you had an even bigger car to be a pro fixie flipper or to haul even more bikes in, like the custom Mercedes Sprinter van that this video sponsor Omaze is offering you for a chance to win. Omaze is all about giving you the chance to win these once-in-a-lifetime prizes, all while helping nonprofits help make the world a better place. You can enter Omaze's sweepstakes for your chance to win the ultimate van life vehicle with a custom Mercedes Sprinter with an eco-friendly VanSmith conversion that includes $85,000 in customizations, complete with solar panels, a fresh water system, a domestic toilet, a full-size bed, and the ability to haul bikes. Donations support St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Their mission is to cure cancer and other life-threatening diseases in children, to give them the quality and quantity of life that they deserve. This once-in-a-lifetime experience closes on January 27th at 11:59 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Head to omaze.com/Zach Gallardo for your chance to win the ultimate van life/bike life vehicle while supporting St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Take your dream bike on your dream trip in your dream van. This is definitely an experience you don't want to miss out on. Colton, however, says he was ultimately on the hunt for a Red Hook Cinelli. The Red Hook Criterium was the biggest fixed gear event in the world, and I have to say was because there hasn't been one since 2018, and fingers crossed that there will be another one soon. It started all the way back in a fixed gear explosion of 2008, where anyone with a fixed gear bike could join and race around Brooklyn, New York. The race had, quote, no sponsors, no prizes, or permits. And the organizers hosted this event every year, and it eventually grew to the biggest fixed gear event in the world, with some pretty big name sponsors on both the organization side and on competition side. Full of high octane bursty bike races packed with powerful thighs, tight turns, and of course, spectacular crashes. The special edition Red Hook Cinelli Vigorellis were made as trophy bikes for the winners of the criterium and sold in the same limited edition colorway to commemorate the special event. Colton writes, "While I was on a work trip in Salt Lake City, Utah, I made the mistake of checking Facebook Marketplace for bikes. There it was, a 2015 Red Hook Crit Milano Cinelli Vigorelli, in my perfect size. I had to have it. Only one problem, it was $1,300 and I was broke. It was a complete build, but kinda ugly in my opinion. However, the parts were solid. I had my preferred build already, just wanted the frame set. So naturally, I listed the parts off of it to friends and collected $800 before I even picked up the bike. I grabbed it, shoved it in the back of my girlfriend's Scion, and drove with it 11 hours home. The bike itself came from a cycling enthusiast and real estate mogul from Salt Lake City. On the 30th floor of his building, it hung on his wall in his office, never to be ridden, until it got to me. I ride this thing everywhere, as it's my only bike. I do not ride it gently. It has been on gravel rides, downstairs, in the rain, up to the hubs, crashed a few times, and on a few century rides. It's the perfect bike for me. And that's what bikes are meant for, even if it is a very limited edition of a bike. Bikes are meant to take you places, and they're meant to put a big smile on your face while doing it. It's not a gold medal that needs to be polished just to sit in a glass case. Bikes are meant to be ridden. I ride a pretty weenie gear ratio at 49/19, but it's good for wheelies, climbing, and skids. I somehow ended up with 800mm wide Thompson downhill bars, and it's so ridiculous, but I love it. Feels like I'm riding a hipster beach cruiser. The rear hub is my favorite part of the whole bike. Apparently, Philwood only made this bolt-on cog for a year. This was sometime back in 2010. The initial purpose was for bike polo. Apparently they had an issue with lock ring slipping after being smacked with mallets. So to me, it's just a unique piece that I've never seen before. The hubs are laced to 36-spoke H+ Sun E-Rose for stiffness and bomb-proofness. Completing half of Fixie Foo's dream bike is a set of the venerable SRAM Omniums that are so stiff and beefy that they don't even fit on half of fixed gear frames. Lastly, the only part I paid full price for was the Chronos Courage Cycling Club chainring. I love how velo race style it looks. I couldn't pass it up. So there it is, my Red Hook Crit Vigorelli, my dream build come true. It's crazy to say, but after all the buying and selling, this whole bike was virtually free to me. However, I don't care what it's worth. I'll keep this bike forever anyway. And if you want to have your fix gear featured in this bike check series, be sure to check out how to do just that in the description. Fixie famous shoutouts to Brent David, Zane Kolnik, Brandon Black, Julian Corona, Mario Perez, Gio Dezera, Scott Palangi, and David K for helping us to make these fix gear videos possible through their support on Patreon. And remember that life is short, but don't make it shorter, so be sure to ride your bike every day to be reasonably dangerous.